And welcome back to the Creating Victory podcast. Get over it and make it happen. Amy J here, and I just want to thank you all for listening, sharing, downloading, subscribing. We are loving the support and creating hope and victory. And that is an amazing segue into my next guest. I know I say this every episode, but this guy is a peacemaker in the true sense of the word. AJ Ali is a vet. Thank you for your service. And a award-winning producer, filmmaker, TV host, wellness expert. He traveled all over the country with Wellness 101, which he'll talk about, which is how we initially connected. He has an amazing documentary feature film, Walking While Black, Love is the Answer, which addresses the problem of, police relationships with disenfranchised communities, I would say, anyone not white. And we can speak truth here. So, fun fact, I met AJ in Santa Monica, California. Anyone who knows me knows that coffee is my first true love. And we were at the Coffee Bean in the Third Street Promenade, which is my favorite place in the world. I wish they'd come back to New York. And we struck up a conversation, and that was some time ago, probably 10 years ago. And we've been best friends ever since. So, AJ, welcome to the show. Thank you for your time. Thank you for making peace in the world. And it's great to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Amy. It's always good to see you. Yes, I do miss the coffee bean on the
Oh,
promenade as well.
I miss the coffee bean so much.
The
But
good old
anyway,
days.
on to more important things. So you are a peace activist. Share with us a little bit. I know you have a military background and a lot of film experience and your Wellness 101. How did this all sort of evolve into this movement, with the film and everything you're doing now, which we'll talk about?
Yeah, so back in 2012, I was just going for a walk, minding my own business in my community at the time in Howard County, Maryland, and I got stopped by police for what they said was breaking into homes. I was just going for a walk.
I'm sorry, it's not funny. I just
I
know
mean,
it's
it is kind of
ridiculous.
funny, if not for the history of too many people losing their lives and losing their freedom, it is kind of funny in a sick kind of
Yeah.
way, like a Larry David kind of skit way, right? Um, Curb Your Enthusiasm. We have gone through this kind of thing too long in this country. So in 2012, I was stopped for walking while black, and one officer turned into three, and I wound up making a film about my personal experience, but also about the experiences of so many other people. And what stood out to me during the making of the film was when I would talk about what happened to me with my black friends, almost every single one of them would basically say the same thing happened to me. Last week, last month, last year, it happened. Same conversation, same topic with my white friends, and I would get stares. Some of them didn't believe me.
Mm,
Few apologized. But it was this whole different world experience, right? Like they couldn't fathom being
yeah.
treated that way by a police officer, and maybe one of them could have related. Whereas with my black friends, maybe one of them couldn't relate because it hadn't happened to them. So that really struck me, and it really struck me that we have a divide in this country. Now, this was 2012, right? This is before all this Trump nonsense that we've been going through, and all the MAGA and everything else just
Right.
blowing everything completely out of proportion, even from there. So 2012, that was the case. 2017, the film came out,
Mm.
and it has been going strong ever since. It's been going strong now for 8 years with no sign of letting up, unfortunately.
The film is I've seen it. I've been fortunate to participate in some of these dialogues. And I was just actually having a conversation with a friend this morning about, how we're going to make peace. It's not as our defense budgets are growing and our education and arts budgets are being slashed. This is backwards. So
Yeah.
forums like this, can you share a little bit? Because the making of the film interviews so many officers and people, and you see the dichotomy of the changes in society with, the high hopes of President Obama that kind of fell a little flat, in my opinion. No disrespect to him, but and the role of the media and they're about ratings and ad dollars. There's no more news and keeping this going, and I notice it all the time here. New York One, uh, it's all about who got shot. It's always in the Bronx, it's always in Queens. It's all, why is this news? And so can you share a little bit, as you made this film, how you got all, I mean, you had police chiefs and these amazing people sharing their experiences and how they're training their people to be more respectful and humanistic individuals.
Yeah, another thing that I learned during the making of the film was that the culture of policing in America is really broken. It's filled with toxicity. And a lot of times, officers who are out there on the streets, many of them who got into the profession because they wanted to do the right thing and they wanted to make things better in their community, they're not getting the support that they need for their own mental health. So
Mhm.
imagine every single day seeing people at their worst, right? Seeing dead bodies, seeing women being abused, seeing children being abused, seeing the worst, right? And then you go back to work and say, I'm not feeling very good, and you want to see a mental health therapist. Now they take you off of your normal duty, maybe give you a desk duty, maybe give you time off, right, to get yourself together, and you're feeling a little bit ostracized because the culture is that if you can't handle it, then you're kind of, you're kind of a cast aside in a different category of cop,
Mm.
right? And so people wind up not getting the help that they really need because of the culture. This There's a lot of bullying and a lot of abuse that goes on in the policing world. It's really crazy. And it also comes from the top down,
Yes.
right? So there's a lot of friction between the command staff they're mostly politically driven
Yes.
and the officers that are out in the streets. There's this huge divide between them, and then there's all these other cliques and groups. And so it's really tough. And I learned that as I was making the film, and I
Mm.
started to gain some empathy for a lot of the things that are going on because, as you know, hurt people hurt people.
Mhm.
And so when you have officers who are hurting and they can't get the support that they need, right? Then they're out hurting. They're hurting their own families. They're hurting themselves with substance abuse, and suicide attempts are high, and it's crazy what's going on in that profession. So we have really informed how I made the film, and that's why you see so many cops in the film. Half the people in the film are
Yeah.
police officers, right? We do have police chiefs in there. We do have sergeants and others, and they're the ones that tell the story of how broken that system is. So once the film came out, I started to get a lot of, well, before the film came out, I was getting hate mail and I was getting death threats from police who didn't want me to tell the story of police brutality. After the film came out, that pretty much subsided, but what I started to get was a lot of messages from cops all over the country thanking me for making a film that shined a light on what's actually going on and making it possible for them to have the discussions within their departments now about how they can get more help. So we have actually, as a side benefit to this, we've actually helped usher in a whole new wave of wellness into the law enforcement community, and that has been a beautiful thing. We're starting to see some things change, but there's a lot of work left to do, but they are now a lot more open to wellness in 2025 than they were in 2017.
Congratulations, first of all. Thank you. And that's a great segue. You've created this whole Love is the Answer movement, basically trainings, education. I want you to share about Kuna, but how has the response been within the departments? Have you been able to work it all, with the media? They love these images of, cops killing people and this and that. And as with everything, it's such a small percentage, and we don't really get to think. And the people that are in it, like you say, for the right reasons, that want to support, that need the help, are not given the attention because it doesn't get ad dollars and ratings. So how have you been able to work with the media at all? How has the response been within the departments? I know you've traveled nationwide, you went to Congress.
Yeah.
Are they embracing this more? I know it's a big
The,
political question.
the media. Yeah,
Media is the devil.
I get people telling me all the time, why doesn't Lester Holt, cover your, whatever network, right? Why aren't you on CNN? Fact is, they don't really want a lot of stories like this. 90% of the news these days, if it bleeds, it leads. If it is divisive, if it's getting people fighting each other, if it is showing gore, then they're getting paid.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So I thank God and the universe for people like you, because if you're giving me a platform to share with 5 people or 500 people or 5,000 people or 500,000 people, we need more of this kind of interaction, right? People who are out there who have a following sharing things like this, because CNN and ABC and NBC and all those, they're not really looking for this kind of stuff. They're not looking for the solutions. They're looking for the problems, and the problems boost their ratings, and the ratings bring
More
them more money.
dollars.
Yep, yep.
I say it all the time. The news isn't news. Turn it off.
Yeah.
How's the response been? Because you've been able to go across the country, and you have a training, correct, that you do and take the film
Yeah,
and
yeah,
open up. Can you share a little bit about that and what kind of
yeah.
feedback you've gotten? It all
Absolutely. Yeah, so the film, like I said, came out in 2017, and since then we have been developing other programs and products to go with it. So we have a book that is 482 pages long. It's
congratulations.
It's the Love is the Answer book, and I got about half of it is my writing, and based on the first 25 years of marriage for Jane and I equated our marriage to the police community relationship. So we talk about things like patience and perseverance and transparency and all these things that are good for a couple, but also good for the police community relationship. So that's kind of cool. We've got a class called Lead and Serve with Love that goes 12 weeks on Zoom. It's one day a week for 2 hours on Zoom, and at the end you get a certificate. It's a leadership class that focuses on empathy and compassion and social responsibility. And Amy, it is absolutely amazing. I've seen people just like you did, just like that. I've seen people,
Yeah.
CEOs and PhDs and sheriffs and others break down in tears by session number 2, because they've found a place and a space with people that they can trust to just be themselves and exhale. right? And we get into things that are deeply personal along with the professional side, and it's okay to do that. Oftentimes we're told to leave our humanity at home when we
Yep.
come to work, and we can't do that and be full, in our we got to bring our spiritual side and everything else, and we got to be free to do that. And so we help people to open up all those channels that have been blocked, artificially by society. We help them to become their full selves. So that Lead and Serve with Love class, I'm really proud of. It has done extremely well, and we're about to start cohort number 6 on June 26th. And we plan on reaching people all over the country and all over the world at some point with that. But we've got classes, workshops, webinars. We've got programs for young people, for adults. We got programs for
Program.
everybody.
This
Yeah.
is, I practice Paschal Buddhism, which is basically a peace movement. And it's all about this, like doing your human revolution. Because someone said to me once, you don't have work karma, relationship karma. We just have ourselves, and we take ourselves in every situation that we're in. So, being able to reflect on that and be more in touch with that and be more humanistic individuals all the way around, I think is love is the answer, right? And so you're
Yeah.
tell me about the youth, because I'm, in this social media age, it's just horrifying. I saw something the other day, like kids can't sit through a 90-minute film without needing to be on TikTok. And, again, this is a money-driven thing with the technology and every time you click and being addicted. And I mean, here in New York, it's literally everyone walking down the street looking at their phone. We're no longer engaged in our lives, we're engaged in our phones. And it breaks my heart. So how are the youth responding to these kinds of conversations? Like, pay attention to yourselves and others.
Yeah.
Where
So
you're walking, at least here, like, I mean,
yeah.
parents with strollers on the phone have almost bashed into my leg because they're too busy looking at their phone. To,
Wow.
yeah, amazing.
So young people love our programs, and as you can see behind me, I've got Kona the Love Dog, and she is she's our mascot. Let me see, I'll go this way for a second so you can see more of Kona. Kona the Love Dog is a mythical Hawaiian bulldog. And we created Kona because we do want to reach everyone from K to gray, as I say. And we have an origin story about Kona on our website at trylovenow.com, where you can learn how Kona went from a mangy, grayish kind of color bulldog to what you see now with every color under the rainbow.
Hmm.
And she teaches empathy and compassion and love and respect and forgiveness and all these things that are called weak by some of our leaders
Yeah.
today, right? And so Kona is showing young people a better way. And I thought when we created Kona that Kona would be for like the 5 to 10 year olds, but the reality is I've seen people,
I
yeah,
want a Kona doll. Where can I get a Kona doll?
even
Come on,
25 year
Mattel.
old like yourself, right? Even, so everyone loves Kona,
I
and
love
we've got Kona stickers, and we've got Kona coffee mugs and other
Kona.
things now. I'll send you one.
Yes, please. I'll donate. Oh, I'm excited.
And as
Oh,
soon as we get the plushies and all that other kind of stuff out, yeah, we're gonna have all that coming out. We're planning on having a Kona coloring book and a comic book come out later this year, and then everything else will follow. Even animation, we're gonna do all that. Yeah, so Kona's gonna be everywhere. Kona's gonna be everywhere. So we're doing that. The young people love Kona, and we're starting our first ever Kona Club at a middle school in Howard County, Maryland, this month. And so it's going to be actually six sessions. Yeah, six sessions. It's going to be a general session. And then the next four sessions are going to go by the love acronym. And love is not a warm, squishy feeling. It's learn about people, open your heart to their needs, volunteer to be part of the solution in their lives, and empower others to do the same. So it's four action steps. And so session one will be a general session where they'll learn Kona's origin story, and then we'll go the next week with learn, and then open, and then volunteer, and then empower. And then the final session of the six, where these sixth and seventh graders will be participating, they're going to take everything they learned in the first five sessions and they're going to go out in their school and they're going to help people who are in need. They're going to show love to people. They're going to do projects that will just spread love in their school. And then they'll get their certificate and their gifts and prizes and everything else for being part of the Kona Club
Oh,
experience.
you're gonna make me cry, AJ.
So,
This,
would you like to see that in every elementary school, every middle school, every
yeah,
high school?
yes, please. Can you imagine? Get them off their phones and connected to each other. This is amazing.
Hey, maybe we can get one of the cell phone companies to sponsor the program and get, because it would be good for them to do something like that, right? Because they are part of the problem of getting these kids addicted to these devices.
They
Maybe
want
they should sponsor something like this to get them actually addicted to doing good in their community. And then they can go back to their app on their phone to get some Kona rewards to get a free whatever store they want to go to.
This is amazing. You inspire me to get off my butt and make some things happen.
Oh,
So,
come on. You're like the Energizer Bunny. I can't even
oh,
keep up with you.
child. Oh, just trying to stay out of the operating room this year. That's my goal.
That's a
Um,
good goal. That's a
so
good
you were sharing, you talked a little bit about the lead, survive,
Oh, lead and serve with
share
love.
with love. Share about that.
Yeah, yeah. So again, K to Gray, right? So we have this class that is 12 weeks long, 10 weeks of classes followed by presentations and then graduation. And lead and serve with love is teaching people how to bring their full humanity into their workplace and just treat themselves and others with respect and compassion and empathy and to do their work in the community with social responsibility and just be a leader or a follower, lead and serve, right? Be a leader or a follower, a servant to your community, right?
Mm,
So the class helps with customer service. It helps police to be able to protect and serve at a higher level. It helps teachers to be able to teach more effectively and treat their students in a different way. It helps students learn how to be more respectful of their elders and teachers and others. It helps returning citizens to get ready to come back into society. We want to
mm,
get this as into the criminal justice system and other
yes.
places. We've had Fortune 500 leaders say it's the best training they've ever had. I've had people that have been at West Point who have become high-ranking folks in the military say it's the better than any training they've ever had. So
Mhm.
it's just something that is beneficial for everyone, and it's usually it's 18 and up, but I believe that this could also work in high school. So I can picture people graduating from Kona the Love Dog into Lead and Serve with Love when they get a little older. Yeah.
You bring up a good point, and I say this all the time. We have it backwards. This idea of greed, anger, and stupidity is the three evil poisons in Buddhism. But
Mm.
what our so-called, I don't even want to call them leaders. I don't know what they are at this point, and we've been progressing to this point for a long time. We didn't just get here. No one reads history anymore. But the better the people do, the better everybody does. So if your workers are getting paid well and don't have to have five jobs and have insurance and don't have to be on SNAP, and the better your outcomes are going to be. I mean,
That's
I'm
right.
no economist, I'm the dancer girl, but it's pretty common sense. So I don't know why all these people on these so-called high, you know, I, so this is exactly that. Let's train our, I was thinking today how great it would be if the head of the New York City Transit would maybe cut his own salary to pay the workers so we could have more 104 buses that only come and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I mean, we're in an existential moment right now, but you're right. This is the answer right here. So it's one, and I was literally sharing this morning, how mystic, one heartfelt, compassionate conversation at it. I get impatient, especially with people on the speaker phones. This is like, it just makes my skin crawl. Like, I don't want to hear your FaceTime. I don't want to hear your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I just want to sit outside for 5 minutes in the morning and have my coffee without like we've just become so disconnected. So this is like the antidote and
It really is. Yeah.
at a time, is so incredible. And so the movie is still out. Where can we find it?
Yeah, yeah. So it's available on Apple, on Vudu, on YouTube for rental, Vimeo, and if people go to our website at trylovenow.com, there's a tab that they can press to get to the information about the film. The film itself has a separate website called walkingwhileblack.com, and you can go there and see the trailer and rent the film or download it. And for groups, we license it. So schools like high schools and colleges, police departments, nonprofits, ministries of every kind. We have a really cool program where we get people from synagogues and mosques and temples and churches to actually come together. We call it the Faith Community Challenge, and we challenge different faiths and different colors, right? Because usually in the Christian church, you'll have a white church and then you'll have a black church, right? They're still segregated.
No sense.
Crazy.
It's
So,
completely against what the leaders of all of these practices were about, which is
right?
the whole other podcast. You don't even want to get me on that.
So
Holy moly.
So we're bringing them together. Now, it's not easy. A lot of groups don't want to do that, but when we do, when we're successful and we get a group of people come together and they watch our film together and then they read our book together as a book club selection and then they do the work in the community together, amazing things happen as a result of that. So we're doing a lot of those kinds of things. In fact, um, I have I have folks who painted a mural in Arnold, Maryland, white church, black church, who came together to do that. Watch the film, read the book, do the work. Ever since they did that mural together, they've been like this. They've basically become family with
Wow.
each other. And these are two churches that were right down the street from each other, and they never communicated with each other. And now they're doing cookouts together, and they're going to each other's graduation parties, and it's just been amazing to see. So what if we could do that all over the world? Just that. What a difference that would make.
I'm kind of speechless, AJ. I mean, this is how we build humanity, no matter what you practice, respect and dignity of all life. It's just incredible. And I also just have to bring up the power of art here, like to unite, as our arts and arts education is getting slashed out of the
Yeah.
fear of our non-leaders. So thank you for sharing that because it's such a great reminder, whether it's art or dance or music or how it just it opens us up to this kind of thing. So Any parting words from your experience or you could share with our Creating Victory podcast audience? You've inspired me to get off my butt and make it happen. So I've been kind of slacking lately and just this is it right here. You're like you need a Nobel Prize, man. Seriously.
Well, you know what? Thank you. But you have inspired me, and
Oh,
you're one of my favorite people. So you mentioned, something earlier, about greed and anger and
anxious.
stupidity, right? So I'm a military guy, so I turn everything into an acronym. So that's gas, right? So we got to take our foot off the gas and 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 we gotta relax a little bit, right? And just really think about how we can electrify people and our communities, and love can do that. Not just the warm, squishy feeling, because when times get tough, sometimes that's hard to do, right? But these four action steps that I share: learn, open your heart, volunteer, empower. And if people just think about that in their daily interactions, especially when someone does something really stupid to you, or they've shown anger, or they're greedy and taking things away from you because they think it's going to make them better, take a minute, take a deep breath, take a few deep breaths, do some aloha breathing, right? Alo in and ha out. Do that a few times, and then practice those four action steps of love and see what happens, right? It'll be a blessing to you, and it'll be a blessing to the other people in the community. And that's my advice. That's what I got. That's all I got.
It's amazing, AJ. Thank you for taking the time. Please give my love to your beautiful wife. She
I
has an
sure will.
incredible
Thank you.
story of her own that we'll have to share. And I am at your beck and call anytime because this is how we make peace, my friends. So, everyone out there listening, please listen, share this conversation because if you're feeling hopeless, please, please, I beg you, my friends, turn off the news. It's not news. Turn it off. Share AJ's message and, we're going to create value, get over it, and make it happen no matter what, because this is the moment. So, thank you all. Please download, share, subscribe. We are here for you, AJ. It's wonderful to see you. And we'll be back with another episode of the Creating Victory podcast.